Okay, from the beautiful tapestry of Southern California's high desert comes one of the most explosive and diverse rock bands, Kings of Karma. Joining us now, let's welcome Chris Gates from Kings of Karma. Chris,
What's
man,
going
how
on?
are you?
I'm good. How are you doing, bud?
Doing well, man. So tell our audience a little bit about this. You guys formed this band in 2012. Tell us about bringing this project together.
Yeah, man. So we just a couple friends of ours, and we've just been playing music for a long time together, and we just wanted to keep staying in a band together because whatever we're doing is working. So we're just trying to bring back that nice vintage influence that influenced all the pickup and instrument, and try to twist it with a nice modern way nowadays. So we got that vintage modern kind of feel, but we just love good rock and roll, and we just like writing solid rock and roll.
Yeah, and I was reading, so your style's kind of been described as like ranging from like a Led Zeppelin to like a Rolling Stones type of style. Would you say that kind of how it sums it up a little bit?
Kind of, I would say more like a Black Crowes and Aerosmith met, but yeah, we have the Zeppelin feel to us. The only problem is I try not to do too much Zeppelin because it seems like everyone else is doing that nowadays. So I got to be a little bit different.
Right. Yeah, definitely. So the last single you guys had out, Falling to Pieces, was a really, really cool track. Tell us
Thank you,
about
sir.
putting that track together a little bit. Really digging that.
Well, surprisingly, the funny thing about that song is it was never supposed to be a single. We're getting ready to start writing a new record at the beginning of the year, and I just wrote that song as just like a really cool album filler, just like a good solid song on the record. And we released our new album, Bite the Bullet, in March this year. And around the summertime, our producer said, hey, like we should really think about putting out another single. And so I just started kind of just sifting through all the songs that I had, and I showed the band Falling to Pieces, and everybody voted like that's the next single. And I'm like, really? You think so?
Right.
And
Sometimes it's like you're not sure. I've talked to a couple of musicians about this, and some people are just like, no, that's not it. That's not it. And your manager hears it, or your group of peers hear it, and they're like, no, that's the one. That's the one. And you're like you're exactly like you were saying. Really, really like. But
it works,
seems
man.
to be doing well for you guys, right?
It has the catchy chorus and the melody you want to groove to and keep singing to. So who am I to say,
That's give the people what they like. Definitely,
Sure.
definitely. And you guys have been doing that at your shows, giving them what they like. Definitely. High energy, crazy ride, it's kind of been described as.
Yeah, we're pretty wild on stage. I mean, if you're going to be in a rock and roll band with long hair, you got to act the part, right? So other than breaking instruments, we get pretty nuts on stage.
You guys are doing that on stage. I haven't seen that since like way back in the day. So that was like a Who or a Kiss type of concert type of thing that you would usually see that at, right?
Yeah. So we're just, you gotta play the part. So we want people to enjoy the record because we put so much quality and time into the records and music. But you also want to be amazing live too. So not only is the record good, but it's like, dude, have you seen them live yet? This is even better. So we're always just striving to be the tightest, best sounding group out there right now. So that's always the goal.
Yeah, I think that's you hit the nail on the head. That's like such the important thing. You gotta bring that live experience, and that's kind of what it's all about nowadays, really, right? So, I mean, pretty much it's the shows and the tours that are selling and making a couple bucks nowadays, not the physical product anymore.
No, unfortunately, we're in the wrong generation for sure.
Right. Even though we see all these things coming back that we saw years ago, like I wouldn't have thought, like 10 years ago that vinyl would be coming back, or even now some people are putting out cassettes. I've seen once in a while. And
I'm a vinyl collector, so to be on vinyl is awesome. So
right. Yeah, that's always definitely a very, very cool thing for sure. Very cool. Yeah. All right. So what would you say maybe kind of influence your sound? I mean, we talked a little bit about it. So you said like maybe Black Crowes. Was there some musical influences, vocalists or something like that you kind of looked to or kind of modeled your sound after, or maybe someone that influences you now?
Well, the thing that definitely kicked it all off for me, the only reason why you and I are here talking is the Beatles, and nothing could beat them. So,
I definitely have to agree. There would be none of this, right? There would be
yeah,
none of this without them.
there would be none of it. So, yeah, like I'm a big Beatle historian, so I'm just my family and everything. I even name my kids after Beatles songs. Like,
Oh, your wife's probably ready to kill you, right?
yeah, I've turned her into a fan since we've been together. So,
All right, that's a
we
good
love the
thing.
Beatle thing.
Yeah. Have you caught any of the shows with McCartney's still out there doing it?
Of course,
He's still playing, man.
it is. Yeah, he it is. I wouldn't go see him now because I've seen him in 2012 and then I went to Desert Trip in 2016 and he was solid. Um, I don't know. I put him on such a high pedestal, so I just know vocally he's not as strong anymore as he used to be. So I don't.
Yeah.
I want to reserve the two amazing shows I saw him and leave it at that. You know,
I,
and just
I
like,
totally understand what you're saying. Feel the same way about some bands I've seen
yeah,
back in the day, and now maybe I wouldn't see them today because I saw them in their heyday. And you're right. We start to see a little bit of, as you would call it, cracks in the armor for Mr. McCartney. He's showing his age. I mean, he does like a 3-hour show. Right?
it's still good though. Like,
Right?
I mean, don't get me
It's
wrong. Like
crazy.
his band is amazing. They cover him beautifully. Like it's still fun. It's still a McCartney show. I got to see him when he was still just like killing it. You know what I mean? So it's
Yeah.
like as a singer and as somebody who's extremely influenced by his singing, it's I'd like to keep it. I'd like to keep it well preserved where I have it. So
Totally understand it. And I think you're located in the California area, right? You're
yes,
in
sir.
Southern
Temecula,
California.
California, Southern California.
So, what is it kind of like there now, as far as music, as far as clubs? What's kind of going on there now? We don't hear as much about that anymore, really, as we did.
Well, it's still a cool music scene out here. I mean, don't get me wrong. Like LA and stuff isn't like it used to be. That's the only problem. Like as a band, LA was the spot. If you were gonna
Right.
go make moves, if you were gonna really work on making your career go somewhere, you got to go to LA,
Yeah,
right?
the labels are there, the clubs were there.
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's not the same anymore because as you see nowadays, like record labels don't work the way they used to. They don't. Uh, there's just no money. So the problem is that everybody's becoming a TikTok star or everyone's recording their new hit single in their bedroom, and it's ruining the industry in a sense. Don't get me wrong, the technology aspect of it's cool that we're in a position where we could do something like that, but
right.
it's also ruining it for brand new careers because now there's no money. Now record labels are starting to get more into distribution than signing artists, and if anything, a lot of famous record labels are like firing a bunch of employees or crossing off a bunch of artists that they had because there's just no point. And like you said, there's no record sales anymore, so it's like all these artists have to play live or sell merch. That's the only way they're making money. So it's just a really weird time to be in the music industry right now. And unfortunately, like I said, I was born in the wrong generation. It just sucks because it's like back in the day, like let's say the 70s, for instance, you'd be playing in a bar and some AR guy or a manager, somebody would stroll in, see the potential that they could do. If I get them a publicist and get them on the radio and get them a label, I could turn these people into the next superstars. And that's how things were approached back then. So
Right.
everybody got signed. And what you did with it from there is, are you good or you're not? But nowadays, it's like they want you to do all the footwork first. So you need to have huge Instagram numbers, huge TikTok numbers, huge Spotify numbers. And if you don't, we're not going to talk to you. Until
Yeah.
you get all that done and you have a huge fan base, then we'll talk about signing you or talking to you. So it's just so ass backwards now. And it sucks for people like us because it's just like, man, if this was 1977, we would already have a record deal by now.
Yeah. It's definitely so weird. Like you're saying, it's all built on that. They're looking for the return right away with those numbers, and there's no upfront money to cover any touring expenses or
And even if
anything.
they do give you an advance, a signing advance, man, you got to pay that back before you even get a dime of anything.
Right,
So
and
it's like,
that was the big problem nobody realized back in the day, right? They
oh,
thought this was
that's
like
why so
free
many
money.
bands that's why so many bands sign so many bad contracts because they didn't
Right.
know better. You know, they're not when you sign a contract, all these labels and management companies, they all know the type of language to use in the contracts that are confusing and all those little details that if you don't know what you're reading and you don't have a lawyer, you're going to sign this really shitty deal and then you're stuck for
Yeah.
7 years plus, you know. So we have an attorney, we're an actual LLC, we're a business, and
Smart. Yeah, that's the
we've
way to
signed
go.
bad deals in the past when we were young men and we learned our lessons, and you know, it's just growing. You gotta get burned a couple times before you get some wisdom in you. So, but nowadays, like, you know, we don't just sign anything. We have people read it and make sure we highlight, oh, we're not doing that, you know? So it's a little different for us, but there are still bands out there who, you know, they're artists, man. They're not businessmen. So it's like now you have to play businessman and you got to play an artist and you got to make sure even if you're the most talented guitarist in the world or most talented band in the world, if you don't have the songs, it doesn't matter how talented you are. If you got shit songs, you ain't going anywhere. So you want to focus just trying to become a good songwriter for people, and then when you got to play every other hat, you know, it frustrates bands. It makes bands break up.
Yeah.
You know, money gets involved, and there's not enough because to fund a original career is expensive, and or you don't have support at home. So
Yeah.
you gotta have like all these boxes checked off in order to have some kind of chance. And luckily we have a lot of our boxes checked off, and we're just trying to make stuff happen now. We're trying to build an empire.
Yeah, I hear you. But yeah, you hit the nail right on the head there. I talk with a lot of promoters, and it's right. I mean, a good song is a good song. There's no doubt about that. But if you don't have the other stuff, if you don't have the right promotions behind it, you know, and the right people working it for you, I mean, you could be
Becomes a
putting
dead
out
release.
yeah, you could
You
put out
know?
a great song, but nobody hears it, nobody knows about it. It just kind of go, and you know how everything is now. You know, you release some music, and 10 minutes later, there's another release of something else. Oh, this is the hot thing for a day or two, and then they're on to the next thing. You know,
Yeah, and
it's
even
so
even back in the
fast.
day, labels used to be a little bit more strategic. Like artists wouldn't just get constantly released. They'd be like, "Oh, you know, uh, Patti LaBelle is about to release a song, so we're going to release ours 2 weeks after." You know what I
Right.
mean? Like, I mean, the Mick Jagger from the Stones says it all the time. Is like the Beatles and Stones would talk to each other. You know, like, oh, the Beatles are about to release Day Tripper, and we're about to release Paint It Black. Let's wait. And you know, like they would strategically check in with each other in a
Right.
sense.
Let the
Like, when
press
you
die
releasing your
down.
single,
Yeah.
so we don't like ruin it, you know, or get shit out. So you know, I mean, a perfect example, the Monkees, they released their first actual album where they played and wrote the songs, Headquarters, in 67. 2 weeks later, Sergeant Pepper comes out and just kicks them right off the chart. So that sucks, you know? You put all this time and effort and you're doing really good, and then some other hot band releases something even better, and then it just kicks you off and ruins your whole run.
Oh yeah, yeah. Just an amazing, iconic album. Obviously, Sergeant Pepper's and stuff. I was reading like when they were getting ready to put that out. They were playing it for a couple folks in their circles, right? They played it for Jimi Hendrix to
Mm.
listen to it, and like after he released it, he was starting to play tracks off of that.
Yeah,
After they
3 days
released it,
later.
yeah, after they released the album, which just speaks volumes about that, you know, respect they had for each other back in the day. But yeah, that's cool. It's just so bizarre and weird. I find it, and the thing that kind of frustrates me is with the record labels where one, I feel like they kind of sold all the artists out back in the day with doing like Spotify and everything.
Oh
You
yeah.
know, they kind of sold everybody out so they could still make some money, and the artists make, you know, pennies, you know, and you guys
Totally
don't get
works.
anything from them except distribution at this point is really all they're kind of good for. You know, maybe PR and distribution, but that's kind of where it's at.
Yeah, and unless you literally are making like 1 billion streams, you're not getting paid right on these. I mean, even Taylor Swift, she's huge, right? She doesn't get paid that well on Spotify. and she's huge, and she has
Yeah.
billions of streams. So it's like streaming's not where you make your money. You know what I mean? How we look at it as, unfortunately, that is how the industry utilizes like your worth. Where your Spotify numbers. If your Spotify numbers are good, we'll take you on. We'll make them bigger. But they want, that's like right now, if you were a record label and I'm sitting in your office, and this is let's say we're at Atlantic Records, you're sitting in your office and you're interested, and we're having a conversation about Kings of Karma. The first thing you're gonna do while we're talking is you're gonna pull up the Spotify and you're gonna look at that,
Yeah.
and you're gonna be like, yeah, no. Or, you know, if it's really good, like, all right, let's keep talking. And then the second thing they're going to look at is Instagram. How's your Instagram look? So it's like with socials now, they just want your numbers already there. And then they feel it's just too much risk for them.
Yeah.
So they want to make sure that if I'm going to take a risk with the little bit amount of money that the industry has, like, I got to make sure these guys are going to be sellable. So that's why they want to see all those numbers that you've achieved first.
Yeah.
And then there are the special cases where there's still that one dude that believes in it and can help, you know, gear it in the right direction. But it's a few and in between.
Yeah. I think it's so hard on all those different platforms, like you mentioned, because there's an algorithm based on those platforms, right? So if you're on Spotify and you listen to other bands that are in the same type of feel or sound as your band, then your band would come up. You know, but if I'm not listening to anything close to that, if I didn't physically go search it out or have something advertised, you're not going to see it. And the same thing on Instagram, because these platforms have algorithms that push you stuff that they think you want to see because you've seen this kind of stuff.
And that's the thing we're still fighting right now, is learning these damn algorithms and like, oh, you got to do this to do this, and then it doesn't work or something, and then you're just like, you're putting out all this content that ain't doing shit. And we're still learning that game, man. It's a never-ending game unless you pay real professionals that aren't going to get you bots, because you can get shadow banned and not get on the explore pages if you're, you know, like, oh, wow, this guy has 25,000 followers and about 15,000 of those followers aren't even real.
Right.
And like, then you get shadow banned, and then your page gets like red flagged, and then you got to deal with all that shit. And I'm like, do I look like a TikTok star? No. So it's like, why are you trying to make me turn into the next Justin Bieber? That's not my thing.
Right. The thing is, for you guys, is that, like we were saying originally, the live show experience, that's where it's at. So tell us what's going on. Is there some shows coming up for you guys? What's happening with that?
Yeah, we're booking a lot for the new year. We plan on definitely getting around the country a lot more than we have. You know, with our type of rock and roll, I just know that people in the Midwest and the South and stuff, they eat this kind of music up. And the only problem with Southern California, as much as I love my home, is that for live bands, man, it's just like nobody really gives a shit. So it's hard to get people to come out to see you live unless you're already huge, you know, but trying to build a career in Southern California is just harder than it's ever been. So it's like the only way you're really going to get exposed is if you're going out to the right places. So doing research, being strategic on booking and how you tour and stuff like that. So you're not in the hole when you get home because the tour cost more than you made. It's a lot of work, man. It's a lot of hustling, and not only the fittest survive. So not everybody can do it. So it really depends on the group you have, and if everybody's level-headed enough to go through the bullshit together and go through hell and back is the only way you're going to get out on top. So things like that, having to be your own manager and booking agent and publicist right now until you achieve all those things, it's a lot of work. But we plan on doing a lot of touring. We are actually going to be playing the NAMM music show at the Anaheim Convention Center in January. So the big NAMM show that they have every year, which is like the Comic-Con for the music industry.
Right.
We're going to be performing at that, which we're very stoked about. So we're already kicking off the year with something big and flashy. And so, yeah, just we're still booking. We got a lot of places that we're trying to go, especially New York.
Excellent, excellent. And I saw you guys just released your Christmas track. Looks like you had some fun with that for Rudolph Run. You guys were just having some fun.
You can't take yourself too seriously. If you do, you'll lose yourself in this business. So You know, for years, man, Joe, the bass player with the dreadlocks, he's my main partner in this group, kind of like the Lennon McCartney situation. And Joe and I have been told for years by producers and management companies, like, you guys really need to get on the Christmas thing. And I'm like, man, Christmas. I love Christmas, but I'm not gonna do a Christmas song. That's lame. I'm not feeding into that. But we just for years, people like, you really gotta get on the Christmas
You'll
train.
get on a Christmas rotation list eventually if you have a track. Yeah.
So honestly, I looked at it this way. I do love Christmas, and I know a lot of people want to put a gun in their mouth when they have to hear the same damn songs in the grocery store all month long.
Right.
So we didn't want to be lame like that. And Joe and I sat for like 2.5 hours listening to every Christmas song that exists, covered by every artist that's done it. And we kept coming back to Chuck Berry. And I'm thinking, well, dude, we're rock and roll. If we're really going to do a Christmas song, let's make it rock and roll. Let's give it like a Black Crowes kind of feel to it, make it a little faster. But let's honor the real king of rock and roll. And we just kept coming back to Run, Rudolph, Run. So we went in the studio, recorded it pretty quick. And then our producer was the one who, we weren't going to make a music video at all. And our producer said, nah, you gotta. And let's make it absolutely ridiculous. So we went on Amazon, bought some $19 pub crawl Santa suits. It's like felt materials, like really super shitty material. And he's like, let's just play and let's just be nuts. Let's just go nuts. Let's have a good time. Let's be ridiculous. Don't take it seriously. And so that's what you see in the video, is us just over it and just trying to get it done.
Yeah, definitely very, very funny. Definitely. So you guys will be able to check that video out at talkaboutrock.com. We'll have the link to that in our Hall of Videos, so you can check these guys out with their Christmas video. Very, very cool stuff, man. Well, I love what you guys got going on. It sounds like you're headed in the right direction. Definitely, best of luck on what's happening in the future, and keep in touch with us. Let us know.
Yes, of course. We'd love to come back on. This is awesome. We support the show.
All right, so good to speak to you today, Chris.
You have a good one, bud.
All right, so that wraps up this episode of Talking About Rock. Thanks to my guest, Chris Cates, and to our audience. We hope you're doing your part by keeping the torch alive and supporting live music wherever you are. Chris, again, thanks, man.
Thanks, bud. And just to let your fans know and stuff, we do have our website up, so just kingsofkarma.com. Simple.
All right, sounds good. Check that out, folks. Thanks, man.
Thank you.